So in this video, we're going to be going over what I believe is the top 5 best SMP servers ever. Meaning this will be including servers that are no longer played / no longer exist to this day and have ended a long time ago. And of course, there are going to be a few rules and guidelines to go along with this, but before we do that, I want to make sure and everyone understands that this is of course my opinion. If you disagree with my list here, then please let me know in the comment section down below what are your 5 favorite SMP servers. And of course, the usual thing, if you haven't subscribed already, we're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers in 2021, so it'll be highly appreciated if you go down there, hit that red button, and we'll move on. Also, we stream on Twitch too, so join me there, hey? Okay, so first, let's go over the rules and what I believe makes an SMP to count for this list here. Now, first off, it has to be an SMP that is ran by a collection of YouTubers, because that's the point of this, to list off my favorite / the best SMPs ran by YouTubers. Secondly, there had to have been some form of popularity to the SMP server at some point in time. Whether it be because of big-ass YouTubers playing on the server, or whether it be because the server blew up and gained a massive audience, the requirement is the server is at least somewhat popular at some point in stage. Whether it still is or not today is the other question. So let's start off this list with a bit of a controversial choice. Number 5. Epic SMP. Honestly, I have no idea where to start with this one. This was one of the servers that I had a lot of love and passion for when it first originally started. Over the past couple of weeks, it just seems to be going downhill, not knowing where it wants to go from this point forward. Epic SMP is a server that has a lot of promise and a lot of brightness in its future if it can just figure out what it wants to do. And that's what I feel like is just its biggest crush. It's just stuck in a rut that it has no idea what it wants to do with. The server is just unfortunately filled with a lot of false promises, with a lot of people who are meant to have been a part of the server never even coming online, or even just going online once or twice throughout the entire time the server's been going for. The mixing of the different types of characters and people that were taking part in the server was definitely a smart idea, and honestly wasn't that badly executed, as well as the light bits of story and lore that was involved in the server for the very short time that it was. And ultimately, if people start coming back to the swing of things and they can start pushing forward with some decent ideas, I do see this server having a decent future, as well as reaching back up into the high end of my favorite servers to watch and also make content for. But for now, Epic SMP just sits on its own in number 5. Either way, let's move on to the next one before the SciCraft server. One of the beautiful things about the SciCraft server is it's just filled to the brim with literal technical wizards when it comes down to Minecraft. And one of the biggest pros that this server has, if you're a bit of a tech nerd or things just along those lines who likes a little bit of complication to their games, it's definitely a fun server to see all the big and overkill things they do on the server. One really cool problem that they end up having a lot of the time is they're not exactly perfect at the way they present themselves. Again, you have to give a lot of people that type of thing that it happens because they're not exactly YouTubers in a way. They're just really good at Minecraft and just so happen to make content that they put out for the world to see and enjoy. Currently, there seems to be a bit lackluster amount of content when it comes to the SciCraft server, but sometimes that happens. They might be just busy on this ginormous project they might have behind the work. And honestly, SciCraft is just an enjoyable server to watch if you just want to nerd out a little bit, but if you don't like to nerd out, well, that's okay, be you. Number 3, SMP Live. Yeah, I know, it's pretty low on the list considering that it's like number 3 out of like the top 5, and there's like 2 other ones that are better than it in my personal consideration. And personally speaking, I love SMP Live. I love it for what it was, for everything it did and took part of. The personalities and characters that took part in SMP Live were definitely some interesting batches of people. Some of the weird and wacky things that would happen on the server would definitely be something of entertainment value. It would ultimately lead to the explosion of so many different creators who are now popular today. One good example from that is Schlatt, who went from just being a small, not very well known YouTuber to someone with over a few million subscribers to this day on a random channel that he started with the SMP server. SMP Live definitely holds a very soft spot in my heart with everything around it, considering it was one of the things that kicked off the revival of Minecraft itself, as well as containing a lot of entertaining moments and managed to cross the lines between the next generation of Minecraft YouTubers with the old generation of Minecraft YouTubers. SMP Live is definitely one of those servers that isn't going to get forgotten anytime soon. It definitely holds a good place in most people's hearts considering where it did. And with a potential second season pretty much lingering in the air, something that probably won't ever actually happen, knowing that the server will never actually get to bask in the glory of the revived Minecraft that it helped perform. Instead, it will only get to be there for the moment when Minecraft kicked back into life, only for it to dwindle to a close in early 2020. One thing I have to say before I give you number 2 and number 1 is that I feel like that both of these can be swapped either way and based upon your personal preference. I'll explain the reason why number 1 is number 1 when we get to number 1, but number 2 is the Dream SMP, which in my personal opinion is by far one of the most ambitious SMP server ever. Now, it originally started off as just another SMP server with Dream and a few of his friends, but evolved quickly over time to become this massive, chaotic, lore, story-based server that every single member put the absolute time and passion into crafting amazing storylines to not only watch, but to of course play for the members who are actually in the server. Whilst not being the first server to incorporate a heavy amount of lore and storytelling and popularity, it's definitely the one that is executed in the best way, shape and form that one possibly can. With whenever a new lore stream is announced to be happening soon, the absolute hype around it is insanity. And over the past couple of months, I've definitely gotten a bit into watching it, and I've enjoyed everything I've watched so far. Dream SMP is definitely going to be one of those servers that will live on indefinitely after its inevitable end, mainly because of the massive adventure and storytelling that it did, and its new wave of SMP servers that it crafted and begun. The amount of YouTube channels that are solely dedicated to discussing theories and lore around just the server alone is unbelievable, with so many different YouTube channels that have actually spawned a proper career right off the back of just talking about the SMP server. The Dream SMP is definitely a phenomenon that I don't think we'll ever see die out just quite yet. Even after its inevitable end, it's going to be one of those servers that will just have an everlasting popularity presence forever on. Before we get into what I personally believe is the best Minecraft SMP server out there, let's go through some honorable mentions. Now, the first and by far the biggest honorable mention I've got to give here is Minecraft, which is often renowned and crowned to be the originator of the popular SMP genre that we have today. And at its heights of popularity and work that gets put into the server, it was definitely similar to what Hermitcraft is like today. But unfortunately, it's slowly falling out of favor with most people, as not only does it dwindle in popularity, but the actual effort and passion that goes into the content is lackluster, with a majority of creators who even care enough to upload a video about Minecraft once in a blue moon, not really showing too much care and passion into the server anymore. Another honorable mention is True SMP, which I personally believe is definitely a very heavily ambitious server inspired by Dream SMP. At this current point in time, this server isn't exactly too popular of a server, and it's only been around for just over 2 weeks, so it still needs to be given a little bit more time before it can even make my personal favorite list. Quickly zipping through 2 more honorable mentions, we of course got MineKnight, which was the original big lore heavy server, but less around building and other aspects of Minecraft, and did okay with the lore, failing in season 2 and then of course the ending of the entire thing in my opinion. But of course, it being the first ever SMP server of decent popularity that have a very heavy lore aspect to it, definitely holds a special place in my own SMP head. The last honorable mention goes to Shady Oaks, which is essentially being quoted as the retirement SMP, which is essentially just an SMP server with all of the old nostalgic Minecraft creators from the past. Right now, it's not my personal cup of tea, but I guess we'll just see how it goes over time and if it actually grows on me. Either way, let's go into number 1, which if you haven't guessed by now, it should be pretty damn obvious to you. It's Hermitcraft, which is currently one of the most watched SMP servers that I've ever watched. I've been probably watching along the series since late season 4 and early season 5. Over the past several years of the server's existence and me just being a watcher of it, I've definitely seen many different perspectives of it, and I do plan to make more content for it in the future. But I feel like the Hermitcraft server is just the best of all worlds. It has a bit of storytelling, has a bit of character development, has a bit of lore, but it's also got some entertainment value in the proness of the Minecrafters who are actually really decent at doing Minecraft, making cool technical things, and of course the beautiful builds that almost all of them do in the server. I've got another video that I'll be linked in the card just above where I talk about Hermitcraft in a lot more detail, describing why it's been able to last as long as it has, as well as my personal love for it. Either way, if you did enjoy this video, I've been Crizair, the SMP guy. Make sure to smash like down below, and until next time guys, goodbye.